welcome to War of the Stars. I'm your host, John Tali, and we are joined today by special guest, Chris Stolle.
Hey, what's up, world?
And also joined by, as always, Mario Hernandez. Hey, Mario.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And coming from his personal shuttlecraft is Brian Miller.
Hey guys, what's up?
And also joining us today is Christina Tali.
How y'all doing?
And Matthew Cruz.
What's up, people?
All right, well, let's just get right into it. Today is part 2 of our discussions on the what-ifs of Star Wars. How slight different variances could change the entire saga. So we're trying to go in chronological order. So let's just kind of jump right into Force Awakens and some of the slight changes that could have affected that movie going forward. So the first thing I can think of that would be the major thing is Poe dies on Jakku. I mean, that just changes the entire movie.
Well, kind of depends. Does he still get the plans to BB-8?
This is true. This is true. But yeah, I mean, you still could have a movie, but I still think he is an integral part of that story that you have him, die right there, and that just changes that entire movie because he was such an integral. Even though he came in later in the movie, he still was an integral part of it. So, as far as helping Finn escape, and if he isn't captured, and does Finn try to help him escape, and does Finn escape and get out of the new order, First Order?
Yeah. I mean, if we don't have Poe, then I think the First Order still has Starkiller Base, don't they?
Unless BB-8 could get back to the Resistance base and get those plans, they would have to have. I mean, it's not like they have just one X-wing pilot that can lead a squadron. I'm sure they have more than one squadron leader, so it would just be a matter of someone else would take over command of that squadron.
Well, they were originally supposed to kill Poe off in the film, and Oscar Isaac went to J.J. Abrams and said, "Hey, look, every movie I've been in lately, they've killed me off. Can you please not kill me in this one?" So they were able to write him back into the script in the last part of it and brought him back in.
Well, see, he was supposed to die with a TIE fighter crash, right?
Yeah, he was supposed to die in that, yeah.
I'm not going to take anything away from Poe because he was definitely an important character, but I think the parallel, and I'm usually one of those people that hates the parallel between A New Hope and A Force Awakens, but I think the same rule applies. Force Awakens, nothing A New Hope would have happened without R2-D2. Nothing in The Force Awakens, if a Night Watcher had eaten BB-8, would have occurred.
Yeah.
Right.
True that.
True.
BB-8 was the linchpin character of that movie, definitely.
Well, here's a what if for you then, involving BB-8. What if Rey sold BB-8 where the rations are? But would there be?
Unkar would have, because he knew who BB-8 was. That's why he wanted the droid so bad. He knew the Imperials already had the search out for it. He knew it matched the description, so he would have sold that to the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kylo would have gotten the map at Skywalker. He would have taken the entire First Order fleet to Ahch-To and just obliterated Luke from the get-go. And then, Rey would have had a full belly for the next month.
Yeah, she would have had a full belly for the next month, but I don't think he would have taken the fleet. I think they would have just fired Starkiller Base at Ahch-To.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah. That probably been the next test.
But even then, didn't. But remember, they didn't have the complete map. Even with BB-8, they didn't have the complete map because the majority of the mist that was a section of the map, the rest of the map, R2 had.
But Kylo said they already had the rest of it from the archives of the old Empire, and in the novelization, it actually says R2 got that part of the map from the Death Star when he plugged in A New Hope to find Leia detention block. So he said they already recovered the rest of it from the Empire, so they were just missing that one piece. That's why he was trying to find it so bad.
See, kids, this is a lesson to be learned. Read your books.
Read your book. Yeah.
So here's one. I think it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of silly, but I saw someone else posted a video. I haven't had a chance to see the video, but it was what if, or why didn't, in this case, what if the rebels had designed their own Death Star? And now, to me personally, I think that goes against everything that the Rebel Alliance stands for.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see them doing it, because that just goes against the entire nature of what the Alliance stood for, who they were. I can't see them building a weapon of mass destruction of that type.
Absolutely, that's not the Alliance's way. That's the Empire's, ability to rule from such a terrible item and terrible thing. That would be definitely like you said, to spread fear and terror amongst the local systems. That wasn't the rebel.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
The only way I could see the rebels, or even the New Republic, or the Resistance building something of that nature, is if they were facing something so overwhelmingly powerful and big that there's only one way they could destroy it, was with a weapon of that magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I cannot see, them even considering building something like that.
I don't think the Rebels would ever build anything like that, to be honest. Even there would be absolutely no need for it.
Yeah.
Obviously, as was shown 3 times over now, that a weapon of that size has its drawbacks. They built 3 technical Death Stars. First Death Star, second Death Star, Star Killer Base. They're all those orbital, platform destroyers. 3 times now they've had these things built. 3 times they've been wiped out. So they don't have a very high success rate for survival.
Well, here's the ultimate thing too. Here's the ultimate thing about it too, and you kind of get addressed a little bit in Bloodline. See, I'm going to mention a book. Is how at the time Leia was kind of the highest members of the budding New Republic before they found out about her being related to Vader. She would have vetoed it right off the bat, because there's no purpose to the Death Star whatsoever except for a weapon of mass destruction. You can't use it as an artificial planet. You can't use it as a base of operation. It is meant for one purpose: be a giant gun to blow up planets. So, and again, with Leia knowing that her home of Alderaan was completely destroyed and everybody she ever loved or cared about was wiped out by one of these weapons, there's no way she'd ever allow something like that to ever be constructed under the New Republic banner.
Yeah.
See, and what
gets
on my nerves is all these people who are these like EU junkies, who are like, the EU is still canon, all this crap, and they're like, every single one of those books was great. All Disney did was built another Death Star. Okay, well, in the EU, they've actually built a 3rd Death Star, and then the Hutts actually built the cannon of the Death Star, the weapon itself. So there's actually 4 of them in the EU. So, I mean, I know that's off topic, but I was just sitting here thinking about that. They literally built a 3rd Death Star, literally a Death Star 3, identical to the second one.
And then there's also the Sun Crushers and everything else. I mean, they're all basically the same weapon over and over again.
Yep.
So.
Well, you know what to say. First you know succeed, fail again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
It's the definition of insanity.
Well, it is the Emperor, so.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking on the tactical side, at least, I don't think the Rebellion had the materials to actually build one. They barely had enough ships and weapons and clothing and food.
Not the Rebellion. Maybe the New Republic, when it was finally kind of established, they might have had the resources to be able to do it, but the Rebellion, no. The Rebellion never. Here's one kind of going back. What if Han Solo had died like Harrison Ford wanted to in Jedi?
We wouldn't have had the
How would that change?
We wouldn't have had the whiny, emo, yet powerful as shit Kylo Ren.
True that.
True.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, you know, a lot of people pick on the emo and whiny, but I'm glad Han and Leia hooked up. You know, because Kylo is the first guy we ever saw stop a freaking blaster bolt in midair and hold it there.
That was awesome.
I mean, that was Kevin Smith said it best. He said it's emo, whiny kids like that go out and want to conquer the world and control it all by themselves. And it's like that's what every dictator kind of comes from if you ever read up their history. So
even look at
as whiny as he may be. Exactly. As whiny as he may be.
Anakin was whiny as could be. And he turned into... Yeah.
Look at Luke.
And hell, to some extent, Leia, too.
Leia was more of the spoiled brat.
Yeah.
Anakin and Luke were the, I want to go to Tashi Space Station to pick up some power converters, and I hate sand. Like, they were whiny.
All right, well, here's one. We're talking about Han.
Crywalkers.
We're talking about Han. What if Kylo Ren didn't kill Han on the bridge?
Well, that's a fan theory going around, even though it's kind of debunked that Han actually was the one.
No, I'm talking about what if Han walked away from that, like he wasn't killed. I understand they pretty much had to kill Han Solo's character because Harrison Ford didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, that would guarantee that what's-his-face Del Toro's character would definitely be Ezra Bridger, because Kylo Ren would not be giving himself over fully to the dark side, and Snoke would not be training him the rest of the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Killing Han was his test, so if Han walked away and he didn't kill Han, then he would remain in that in-between zone between light and dark.
Well, see, that kind of goes back to what we talked about last week, where if Vader had survived Return of the Jedi and came back to the Rebel Alliance, if Han had brought Kylo back, would he have been accepted? I mean, or would he have been shunned or tried for his crime?
Well, we don't know exactly how much. Well, that's the thing is, with Vader, at least we knew by the end of Jedi, we had a good idea of what exactly his crimes were, of what he had done and what he personally was responsible for. We really don't know, except for the fact of him being on Starkiller Base and Starkiller Base destroying several planets. Other than that, we don't really know exactly what Kylo's crimes are, what he has done in the name of the First Order. So as far as
I know,
and we don't even know how much he's known beyond the Resistance, as far as how much he's known among the Republic.
Right. I just got a really weird. Oh, sorry. I just got a really weird mental visual with Kylo Ren, just like a Law and Order Star Wars edition. I'm sorry, just like Billy B tried for his crimes, and we'd find out what he did.
Well, fan-wise, we know he's irredeemable. Even if they do write a story where he is,
obviously,
he's irredeemable because he killed one of the most beloved characters in all of the saga. But the fact of the matter is, I got one that'll play off of that. If Han didn't die, or if Han had died in Jedi, what if Luke and Leia never discovered they were brother and sister?
That'd have been some weird-looking kids, man.
I know. I'm playing kind of Game of Thrones here, but what if Luke and Leia were the parents of Kylo Ren?
Incest is best, but your sister to the test.
Oh, I just got shivers down my spine in places I don't want to think of.
I think Kylo would have turned out the same way. Found out his mom and dad were brother and sister. I'd have been pissed off, whiny too. Yeah.
But would Kylo be even more powerful than he was?
They're from the southern parts of Coruscant.
From the deep south.
I'm just saying, it's not that if they don't have the knowledge of their brother and sister, nobody ever told them that they were brother and sister, even though that was one of the dumbest lines in Jedi when Luke turns around and tells Leia, and she's like, I know. Somehow I've always known. Yet you kissed me in Hoth, you dirty, dirty girl.
Maybe that's when she realized it, because think of Back to the Future, like, Marty McFly's mother had this huge crush on him until she kissed him.
And she's like, I'm kissing my brother.
Yeah, so maybe it was like when she kissed him, she backed up and went, oh, shit. That didn't
seem right. But here's the thing. What do you think Marty did after that? Not to get really too off topic, but in reality, he probably looked for the first Listerine he could.
Yeah.
At least that's what you hope.
Just replay that whole scene from
Family Guy.
Crying Game.
No. Yeah. Crying no. No. What was the Animal Cop one?
Ace Ventura.
Oh,
Ace Ventura.
That was actually playing off the Crying Game
He's in
anyway.
the shower.
Yeah, I was playing off the Crying Game anyway. So
yeah, that was.
It's all still relevant. What if? Well, I know you want to be on the Force Awakens, but I'm looking at the TIE Fighter model that I got from the Tenant here.
I thought you got an X-wing.
Last week.
I thought you got an X-wing.
Excuse me, X-wing. What if the run that Luke made in A New Hope did not make it in time?
We discussed that.
Yeah, again, I asked before the show.
We discussed that, and it'd be the end of the series. It's like, what if Luke missed?
We missed one.
We
also discussed if Luke died on Hoth. What else? I think that was it.
Well, I got a really philosophical one for you for episode 7. What is with the rise of the New Republic? The New Republic became like the Empire was, and we just didn't realize it in the series. And in reality, the First Order is the New Rebellion.
Essentially, that is what it. I mean, that's what it is from different points of view. But
I was about to say it's kind of the mirror image of it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean,
well, I'm talking about they actually became just like the Empire, as in controlling and a lot darker, like what would happen when a lot of groups rise to power. And the First Order, even though they're painted as the bad guys, are really the good guys. So what if First Order was really the good guys?
It's possible. I doubt it, though, with Donald Gleason really Hitlering it up at the Starkiller base speech. I really don't see it, but it is a very good possibility.
Yeah, I know.
General Hux?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the only thing they were missing was the Sea Heil. I mean, really, let's be honest. You had the whole...
ended at the end.
I know, and I was waiting for them just to goose step right out of the scene. Like, yep, there you go.
Well, essentially, General Hux was the Tarkin of the new movie.
Oh, yeah. I know.
And then Phasma was... Okay, you guys are going to be like, whoa, really? But think about it for a second. Phasma was kind of the new Vader. Over Kylo Ren. Just hear me out. Because in A New Hope, before Empire even came out, Vader wasn't the villain of A New Hope. Tarkin was. And Vader was the muscle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, well, maybe it's not Phasma. I guess it would.
It would be Phasma, because Phasma was the one that commanded all the troops, just like Vader commanded.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Vader wouldn't have shut down the shields and been, allowed himself to be thrown in a garbage can over the threat from 2 people.
True that.
I think there's more to that story, and I think we're going to get that in the Phasma novel.
I hope so, because, quite honestly, besides the character itself being overly hyped to sell toys, the actress, who played Phasma, Gwendolyn Christie, I'm a Game of Thrones fan, and Brianna Tarth is, she's badass. So when I heard she's Phasma, I'm expecting something, like, phenomenal, and that was really a letdown to me.
I think we're going to get an 8, though, because these new publicity shots show her with, like, some kind of quarterstaff spear.
And she has a scar on her face, which she actually doesn't have, too.
Yeah.
Well, so she's losing her helmet.
Well, she's not wearing her helmet now either, so that's more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't you guys learned that the cool-looking characters in Star Wars are never good characters?
Like Boba Fett?
Except Darth Vader.
Hey, yeah.
Except Darth Vader.
Hey, Jar Jar looked just fine.
Actually,
really?
He's not
I
too
went
far.
there.
He's not too far from the truth. The look of Jar Jar Binks before he opened his mouth was fine. It looked like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But as soon as he started talking in the retarded Jamaican accent, that was the end of him.
You don't use that word, by the way.
Which word? Jamaican?
No, the R word. That's okay, Cartman.
That's just what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was just about to say. And I think that we just shot at Brian, did you just shoot out your nose?
I don't know. I
I'm
can't.
good.
Brian, on my screen, Brian has been frozen with licking his lips while looking off into the screen for like the past 15 minutes.
Are you seeing what you want to see, or?
Wow. He's making obscene gestures.
No, hold on. For you guys, I'll do this. Hold on.
Oh God.
No, continue talking. I'm gonna send a picture. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you guys so you see what I'm talking about.
All right.
Okay.
Oh crap!
Allow. Come on. This is
Why
what
don't you
happens.
just screen print your computer, Chris?
Because that takes too much work.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
I swear, amateurs. We're dealing with amateurs.
There, it's sent to you guys. This is what I've been looking at for the past 15 minutes.
And he's probably very happy about seeing it too.
Actually, it is kind of a turn on.
Oh, bounce you go, wah, wah.
Wow!
Oh,
Wow!
that's a
Sexy.
Photoshop waiting to happen. Just saying.
All right, well, I got one for you guys that may have changed the whole entire course of Force Awakens. What if Luke would have accepted the Emperor's offer and killed Vader and took his place?
That would have been heartbreaking.
Well, you think-
I think we would still be battling the darkness, like more so than in Episode 7. Would not be 30 years in the future, but probably closer to 5.
We'd be taking all of these Luke Skywalker as Kylo Ren theories a hell of a lot more seriously back in 2015.
Well, you also got to think too. With Lucas, when he wrote Return to Jedi, it was originally supposed to be that Luke, after Vader dies, Luke takes the mask, puts it on, and says, "No, I'm Darth Vader."
I remember. Yeah, I was actually gonna say that. Yeah.
Add to the dark side.
Luke was supposed to turn in the original draft.
Think about it in Return of the Jedi with how his clothing changed through the through the 3 movies. That remember the color of the Jedi's clothing was very symbolic of
their nature.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Anakin. By the end of Episode 3, Anakin was in almost all black. He was wearing very dark clothing.
By the end of Episode 3, Anakin was in all black.
No, I'm talking about before he turned into a Christian. Before he got well done. I'm talking about. But he got turned into a well done chicken nugget before then. But he had that dark brown and black on.
Yeah.
Same thing with Luke. But when Luke shows up at Jabba's palace, he's wearing all black.
Well, it's not even just the clothing. Think about it. What Jedi have you ever seen use a Force choke? The first scene in Return to Jedi that Luke is in, that's not a hologram. He walks up to 2 Gamorrean guards and Force chokes them. No words, just get out of my way.
Exactly.
Yeah. What Jedi have you ever seen do that?
Are you sure that they were choked? Because I thought it looked like they were grabbing their chest.
No, they Force choked.
When you got a hand the size of a hubcap and a throat the size of a jelly mold, yeah, it's gonna look like.
Yeah. Good point.
So I mean, you could see in the even in the final draft, the essence of Luke going down that dark path that Lucas was originally intending.
So maybe that's why Luke ended up being in exile, because maybe he did go down that dark path and came back.
Well, if you look back in the extended universe, he has done it.
Well,
dude, oh my God, if that happens, I'm gonna cry tears of joy, like in a weird way. Don't ask why. Because like in the EU, he went dark. He went dark in the EU, and then Leia had to bring him back.
Yeah.
That happened, and he was like, "I can't be trusted," and then took off.
So that could be maybe they're bringing that storyline back in.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they're bringing that back into canon.
Or at least alluding to it.
Yeah. Or maybe they're going to turn Luke into a Grey Jedi.
No.
I knew she was going to say that.
Man, I just saw that.
Grey Jedis don't exist, but if Luke was ever going to be a Grey Jedi playing off your clothing statement, it would have been in The Empire Strikes Back, because that's when he was wearing gray.
So speaking on that theory, so does that mean like Luke killed all his students and burned the school down himself?
I don't know about that, because I mean in the trailer for 8 so far, we've seen him kneeling down next to R2.
Oh my
and then
God!
you see
What if you
Phasma
did?
and all these troops walk out.
Wait a minute, what if you went full Anakin?
Yeah, just slaughter his students.
You never go full Anakin.
Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. I like this theory because that's the first time I've heard that, and it really just resonated. Maybe that's why he went into exile. Maybe that's why at the end he's like leaning on R2 and like crestfallen. It's not just the fact that he lost this thing, that he was the cause of it.
And that would make sense too with the whole line, "It's time for the Jedi to end."
Yeah. Maybe he did start getting corrupted by too much power.
Say, maybe he did go dark. Maybe they will allude to the whole storyline of Luke turning to the dark side and coming back in seriousness. And maybe he did do something unspeakable. Like kill all his students or something along those lines. And then once he was brought back, he realized that it was better for him to put himself into exile so he couldn't be a threat anymore.
Well, they've already said episode 8 is going to have the biggest plot twist in cinematic history in it. And you've got a top, "No, I'm your father."
Yeah.
They've already said they're going to have the biggest plot twist ever in it.
Hold on, Mark.
Sorry. Chris said something that I was just thinking. He said, what if he was responsible? He doesn't necessarily have to have done the deed to be responsible. What if he was teaching, he said, I'm going to teach a more rounded form of the Force. I'm going to teach both dark side and light. And he saw one of his students, Kylo, went more towards the dark and then did all these things. And so now he said, because I taught the dark side, I'm responsible for what Kylo did because I taught him these techniques. I taught him these things. So therefore, I'm responsible for what Kylo did.
I would almost buy that. But the one thing that made Mario's suggestion more resonate with me is the fact that it is factually known that Mark Hamill himself has been argumentative with Rian Johnson about not being happy the direction they took Luke.
Yeah.
He has been very vocal about the fact that he wasn't happy with the story and direction they took Luke with. So that would really, when Mario said that really hit me. It's like, what if he was the one who killed the kids? What if he was the burn down the school? What if it was his actions that turned the dark side of the way?
Would they make Kylo almost not really a light side, but someone trying to stop? Who tried to stop? That's what.
I still
possibly.
Honestly think, as far as Kylo Ren goes, I still like the theory that Kylo Ren is an undercover agent. I think that'd be a really interesting, and it'll definitely make everyone go, "Oh no, this is episode 4 all over again." I think it'll completely destroy everyone who says, "I'm like, okay, so it wasn't episode 4 all over again." It would give a lot more depth to Kylo Ren in the end.
I still think that's the only way you can redeem him too.
Yeah, especially after he killed Han, and then all of a sudden he pops up. He's like, "Come with me." And like it all starts getting explained. Then you start to wonder, like, is he telling the truth? Like,
well, what else?
Like, even if he said he was, like,
all right. Let's also look at episode 5. That was the big reveal. "No, I'm your father." Right? Yeah. This would be episode 7, episode 8. It would go in chronological order. If you think about it, the second movie giving off a big reveal. We don't know anything really too much. So if that was part of it, I mean, we did get a glimpse of it in The Force Awakens. So a glimpse of it would be kind of like a hint of what we heard of or kind of theorized in episode 4. So think about it. It would go kind of like, the second movie in a trilogy would be the big reveal. So Luke going to the dark side would perfectly fit with the jive of Star Wars's rhythm, if you will.
All right, well, maybe I'm being stupid here, but on that premise, what was the big reveal in Attack of the Clones?
I was just thinking the same thing, actually.
That Anakin doesn't like sand.
I was going to say, I was going to say, if you think about it, that was a prequel. They really couldn't challenge us too much with it.
Technically, the big reveal in episode 2 was supposed to be Count Dooku being a Sith. That was supposed to be the big reveal.
Finding out there was a Sith Lord in charge of the Republic.
See, I was going to say one of the two was going to be either Dooku admitting the fact of Sidious basically telling the truth about the dark side, or the fact that the Geonosians were the ones that actually came up with the blueprint plans for the Death Star. I think those are the only two things I can come up with that would be the oh my god reveal.
But if you think about it, it was a prequel. It's kind of hard to give an oh my god reveal when we kind of surmise from books and comics and everything of what could possibly happen. I mean, if you think about it, the kids that saw that movie didn't really know Emperor Palpatine was going to become Emperor Palpatine too as well. Those are the kind of the dark hints. You got to think about it as a new person's perspective, not as a long-term fan perspective. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to considering those things, I'm not saying that it wasn't, but you're right. Those two would be, if you think about it, it's like, oh my god, the Death Star for us is like, oh crap, but for the kids, like, oh, what's that? And we're like, oh well, remember a long time ago? Remember that movie Daddy was talking about, or Mommy and Daddy were talking about a long time ago? Well, there you go. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a reveal, but kind of not a reveal. You know what I'm saying?
Debbie Does Dallas? No, not that movie.
Oh, exactly.
You know, the movie we told you about before, the movie you were conceived while we were watching.
Debbie Does Dallas. No, not that movie.
Damn it, will you get off the Debbie Does Dallas thing, child?
Where's my copy, incidentally?
Daddy really
so, here's one. We kind of talked on it last week, but I think it bears kind of repeating, is what if Anakin never was put in the suit? What if you still turned dark side but was never put in the suit? Would he have killed the Emperor right away? Would he have been more powerful?
He would definitely.
I believe so. Because as much as we hate to admit it, midichlorians are canon. All right, so midichlorians would be in his blood, correct?
Correct.
Right.
So if he lost both of his legs and one of his arms, he lost a lot of blood disconnected from his body. He lost midichlorian. So technically he wasn't as powerful as he was beforehand.
And also, let's not forget how smart the Emperor is as well. The Emperor, when he built that, he designed that suit for Darth Vader. We know very well he had something in that suit to help inhibit Anakin or Darth Vader from being like his full potential. There was something in that suit, there had to be, that made it so he could not eventually overthrow. It's why Darth Vader needed help to overthrow the Emperor. He couldn't just do it himself, because let's be honest, Anakin could probably just destroy the Emperor if he gave him half a chance.
Well, again, if you go back to the EU and read like Sith Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, the suit was purposely built to be cumbersome and enclosing on him. Part of the reason like Anakin never was able to use like Force lightning was because of the fact he had artificial limbs.
Yeah.
He had no ability to use those types of Force abilities, because it didn't come from a natural limb. Which kind of plays off of what Brian was saying with the midichlorians, as much as I hate that word. It's all around, everything that happened to Anakin to put him in the Darth Vader suit was designed to inhibit him from reaching his full potential.
Well, even in the Vader comic, because I know, Chris, I think most guys here have read the Darth Vader comic. First issue, the first run. The first run, the guy that designed the suit was in the comic, and he shut Vader down. Like, that was built into the suit. That was an option, I mean, and he utilized it. I mean, obviously Vader overcame that, but that was something that was built into the suit that the Emperor could have been like, like.
Well, that to me in the comic, that was probably one of the few things I didn't like in the comic, because to me it felt like RoboCop 1, with the classified fourth directive that shut down RoboCop. It's like,
Yeah.
So do you think that because did he have the suit? Did the Emperor have the suit already built beforehand, or was it something that he built at spur of the moment for Vader right there? Because I mean that's a lot of technology. So did he have it like? Did he have this plan? I mean, because it seemed like the Emperor had everything planned meticulously. Did he have a plan ready to go?
They insert Robot Chicken. It's all right.
Oh.
Running helicopter blades.
No, I think in my personal theory, and I have nothing to confirm this in myself, but my personal theory, I think the suit itself was designed, but I think its iron lung and inhibiting faculties were hastily put together when Palpatine foresaw that he was going to die, going to lose the fight with Obi Wan. The biggest thing about the Emperor is one of his biggest strengths that a lot of people forget wasn't just his political means and everything else, and it wasn't just his Force lightning and unlimited power. It's the fact that he really did rely on the fact that he had foresight, and as long as things went exactly as he saw it, he saw Anakin winding up that way. So he probably did have them starting on building Anakin's suit.
Well, the funny thing is about, if you ever notice the respirator pack on the chest of Darth Vader is actually very similar to the TIE Fighter respirator pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would make sense. He almost Frankensteined it, which would be appropriate for the parody it was trying to make when Vader was completely put in his suit.
Yeah, because the Emperor didn't even know if it was going to work. Remember, because as soon as Vader comes up, he's like, Lord Vader, can you hear me? Like, he wasn't even sure if it was going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I still subscribe to the idea that Palpatine did. It's a lot better than the dying of a broken heart. That Palpatine killed Padme.
No.
Yes, I agree with that too. Yeah. That just makes so much more sense.
Well, yeah, because then that means Palpatine actually had the ammo he needed and made sure that ammo was there for him to finish the job with Vader, and tell him, listen, Pat, you killed Padme. If you find out later on Padme's still alive, then, that's going to be wait. But the Emperor told me that Padme was dead. And then it may actually trigger something that would cause him maybe to drift back to the light side. But by making sure Padme was dead and making him feel he did it, it just completes his travel to the dark side. He knew he wouldn't be coming back from that.
Well, let's play off
that a second.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, ahead.
So that brings up another one. What if Padme had lived?
Luke and Leia would never have been separated.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know though, because I don't know if they still might have, just for all their safety.
They would have grown up on Naboo.
No, I don't think they would have grown up on Naboo.
No, that's too close. That's too close to the Emperor.
Yeah. I think they both would have wound up on Tatooine because everybody knew that Anakin would never step foot back on that planet.
Because sand.
Yeah. Sand.
It's not just the sand. I mean, we can make the sand jokes all we want, but we know that the worst things that ever happened in his life happened on Tatooine.
Yeah.
The enslavement, the loss of his mother, his first taste of the dark side by slaughtering all the Tusken Raiders. He would never step foot again on that planet. So Luke was when in the actual canon, it was intelligent to hide Luke on Tatooine, although I'd still argue the point of keeping the last name Skywalker and giving him to Uncle Lars. But, that was
Lars?
intelligent.
That doesn't...
Uncle Owen, excuse me. Owen
yeah,
Lars.
Although I'm saying Luke Lars doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
Well, it could have been revealed later that he was a Skywalker.
Right, which actually would have been really cool.
But I think Padme would have been smart enough to take him to Tatooine, especially under Obi-Wan's tutelage and view and watchful eye.
Now, do you think that at some point Vader would have... I mean, obviously, even if the Emperor told him, you killed Padme, blah, blah, blah. Do you still think at some point he would have started wondering? Because even in the comics, he sent... Well, I think he sent Afra to find Padme's mortician just to find out if she had actually given birth before she died.
Yeah, he did and he also sent Boba Fett in the comics to find out who the rebel pilot was, and all that together he discovered that Padme had given birth, that her being buried with still being pregnant was a lie, and then Boba Fett reporting that the only thing he got about the pilot who blew up the Death Star was his last name, and it was Skywalker. Which is going to bring up to my point. Empire Strikes Back. Now we remember in the original scene when it was an old woman with a monkey face that did the Emperor.
Correct.
That there was a different set of dialogue the Emperor gave Vader in that scene, revealing about Luke. But obviously Luke has changed it for the special editions and all that, and having Ian McDiarmid do the part. Do you think Palpatine, besides choking out and killing Padme, he knew that Vader's kid or kids were born? Like, he's always known that Luke Skywalker was out there.
Oh, I'm sure the Emperor already knew.
Yeah. The Emperor knew. He was too meticulous, like you guys said before. He did plan for this, but he just didn't need Vader getting to know that information way too soon, because way too soon would have definitely wrestled the hold the Emperor had over Vader at all times.
Yeah.
Because he was constantly thinking about it.
I don't know, because in Lords of the Sith, didn't it say something about the Emperor was relieved that the child was never born, because that would have been a threat to him, and he's actually glad that Padme died before she gave birth. Doesn't it say something in Lords of the Sith about that?
Yeah, it's been a while since I read Lord of the Sith. I'm going to have to relook that up.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, just playing off of the movies, it almost like he did know, because he was using that almost like another piece in his game. Because when once it was revealed to Vader that Luke was, it didn't even really tell that Leia was alive. It's just more that Luke was alive, and then he wanted the Emperor wanted Vader to bring Luke to him to turn him to the dark side. So almost like making it was almost like he knew, and he was just having these like almost these pawns like set up, like, okay, we'll move this here. Now we can bring this one in, kind of.
Yeah, right. But maybe he didn't count on Vader sending Fett and finding out that his name was Skywalker, because he was hunting Luke Skywalker down before the Emperor brought up Luke Skywalker to him. Mm-hmm. So maybe that was something Vader figured out before the Emperor, and obviously he never told the Emperor. He was just like, oh, really, like, I was like, I have a son.
Well,
holy crap!
In the spirit of like Marvel Comics and DC doing those crossovers and what ifs and everything else, I'll throw one out there just on this conversation. Who would win in a fight, Jigsaw or Palpatine?
What?
Palpatine.
Two ultimate tacticians. Who would win?
Palpatine.
Jigsaw is still only human, and
Jigsaw. I'm gonna say Jigsaw, because he was still manipulating shit even after he died.
Who's to say Palpatine isn't?
Well, actually, he kind of is, because if you read Aftermath.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
That's kind of why I was like that. But that was something that was just to lighten the tension, so we can move on to the next theory.
What if?
Yeah, next what if. Especially since Mario's been sitting there quiet for so long.
What if that mind trick Ray tried on the Stormtrooper didn't work, and he just pistol whipped her in the face?
You mean 007 Trooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hey, that's the only role I ever liked Daniel Craig in. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Hey, Kevin Smith had some cameos in 7 too.
He had a voiceover cameo. He got to say one line during the battle. Yeah.
We got incoming at point. So whatever.
Yeah.
It was dead.
Dude, how cool could that have been for Kevin? Think about that for a minute. Kevin, like the rest of us, and he says it all the time, that he's basically, he's just a fan who got lucky and makes movies, but he grew up like we did, sweating over Star Wars left and right. To be asked by J.J. Abrams to come on for the relaunch of Star Wars, and while you're there just watching it, all of a sudden it's like, hey, you want a line?
Yeah.
I get to be in the movie? Like, how cool could that? How would any of us reacted if JJ would have invited us and just been like, "You want to say a line as a stormtrooper?"
Yes.
I think I would have probably been like, "I'm coming in." That's it.
Oh my god, dude!
I would turn into freaking Fred Sanford in a heartbeat. Is it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if I was on screen for literally 1.2 seconds and it was just a blaster bolt hit me in the chest and boom! I'd be happy.
I would play that same piece over and over again.
I was like, guys, that's me. Look, frame by frame, and it's like 7 frames. You're like, look, that's me.
I had an uncle, and this is no lie. This is the God's honest truth. You would never know it. You couldn't pick him out of the crowd unless you watched the end credits at the end of the movie. But have you ever seen the movie Gettysburg?
Yeah.
My uncle Doug was a Confederate soldier because he was part of a Civil War reenactment troupe that they used for the Battle of Gettysburg. He was actually in Gettysburg, but you wouldn't know it unless you read the credits and get all the names of the reenactors that were a part of the movie.
Wow.
One of the tanks I drove when I was in the Army is in Man of Steel.
Nice.
Yeah. It's got. Well, I'm assuming it's the same one. It's got the exact same call sign number painted on it, and it's the exact same decaling work. So, I'm assuming that's the same one I was on.
Nice.
What tank?
Wow.
It was D34D.
There we go, guys. So watch Man of Steel and check out Brian's tank.
There
I
you
drove
go.
that sucker. Yeah.
Check out his big cannon.
Check out the Keeper of
And
Cannon.
And talking about big cannon, make sure you check out Star Wars Canon Library.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
That's how you do it.
The official
That's
Keeper
right.
of Cannon.
Now we know why.
Oh, hey, actually,
Cannon
wait.
Library.
When is, this is probably a really dumb question. Is this airing on Saturday?
No, we're moving this to Monday because this was originally supposed to
Monday.
publish Fridays, but it will publish Mondays.
Okay, not to make it about me for a second, but guys, if you're watching this, make sure to check out the Facebook page for Star Wars Canon Library this coming Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, because I'm going to be announcing who the special guest is on the 2-year anniversary show.
It's me.
Yeah, well, you're one of them because you know because these guys know who it is. Chris wants to be on the show, so it's going to be really, really cool. So make sure to check that out. I'm going to be announcing it. I did get the confirmation that this person's going to do it. So.
There's going to be two very
out,
special
yeah.
things on that show. One is his special guest, and two is me begging to be on the show, and I promised him that I would sit quietly in the corner. I'm not going to say a word. I just want to be there.
See, now you could have made this worth your while too. You could have had him show. You could have really made this embarrassing for him to show up. Made it worthwhile.
Well, not if he wants to have that guest back.
Yeah.
He can do that. He can do that on the season 3 premiere Fourth Wall.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that works. That works. But yeah, make sure to check that out, guys. It's on the Facebook page. It'll be a live video I'll be doing on there.
Awesome.
So anyway, back to the what ifs.
Guys.
Back to the what ifs.
Yeah. I haven't heard a lot from you, Mario. Do you have any what ifs that you've been thinking of?
Yeah, actually, what if the entire crew of Rogue One survived?
Ooh.
That would have been the most heart alleviating moment, I think, in the entire movie, because we all know once that Death Star fired, we all knew it was going to happen, and we're like, okay, they're all champions and legends in our eyes now. But if they had made that last run, it would have been like, we would have been reliving that moment, like when Lando was trying to get out of the Death Star. That anticipation, that sitting on the edge, like, are they going to make it? They're going to make it. 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 You know what I mean?
But they'd already done that on Jeddah.
The thing is,
I
mean, the thing is too, if they did survive, here's the issue which I see, and it would cause huge continuity issues through the original trilogy, because obviously none of them are in there. Would they have to bring out another special edition and start adding some of these characters in just to make the continuity work again? Because if these people are the reasons why the Death Star plans fell into Rebel hands, and why were they not at the actual briefing? So they would have to be. I think it would just cause huge incontinuity issues in the rest of the movies.
Well, you can see, even though they're not mentioned throughout the original trilogy, you can still see the ramifications of the fact of what their mission was and how it ended up and how they all died. The assault on Endor is a good example. When Han turns and says, when he's Lando's getting ready to go in the Falcon, and he tells Lando, it's like I'll never see her again. He's not talking about the fact that he thinks, oh, that ship is going to blow up. He's thinking, I'm going to die on this mission. This is a suicide mission. I'm not coming back. I'm never going to see that ship because I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Because,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, because of what happened on Scarif.
Yeah.
He probably heard stories. You've been hearing stories of what Rogue Squadron had done at Scarif, and the sacrifice they made, and here they are doing basically this a very similar mission. And he's thinking, I'm dead. Everyone on this mission is dead.
Yeah.
Well, technically, they weren't Rogue Squadron at that point. It was just Rogue One.
Yeah.
Well, what was said earlier about Princess Leia, or them not mentioning him at the briefing? All I can think of is the picture that somebody put together of General Dodonna saying, "The plans provided by Princess Leia," and down below it's got a picture of Jyn Erso going, "Excuse me."
See, I would play off a little differently on the what if of what Mario said with Rogue One, because I agree they had to die, because I'm sorry, it really would have taken away from the power of their sacrifice to get the plans to the Death Star had they survived. So it would, to credit to Gareth Edwards and Kasdan, they wrote the way it should have been. But
you can include them into A New Hope so easily, though, with one line. You just have to read up one line of dialogue. And it's that line where he's like, with the plans provided by Princess Leia. You could dub that over and just say, with the plans provided by Rogue One.
Well, you could always go back. You could always go back in the DeLorean with Doc Brown and Marty McFly to 1977 and hand that line to George Lucas, and everything be good. No.
Well, here's a question for you. Actually,
let me finish real quick. To play off of Mario, what if from Rogue One? What if Galen Erso did not die on Edu? What if Rogue One were actually able to retrieve him?
Then when they got back to Yavin 4, they would have had him with them, and then he could have stood there and told them, yes, this is happening. I think it would have united the Alliance more instead of them arguing about it whether or not, and Rogue One wouldn't have had to have snuck off to fight it with a bunch of volunteers. I think they would have sent the entire fleet.
Yeah, also...
that might have been the moment. That would have null and voided Episode 4. I mean, at that point, the Rebels would have said, hey, let's do this trench run, and let's take the sucker out now.
Well, here's what I was trying to ask before Chris was there. I was trying to play directly off of Mario. If they did survive, what do you think what would happen to the original group? Do you think they would have been court-martialed when they came back for the reason that they did go against a direct order, and they did cause the death of a lot of troops, and because they just went off on their own and did it anyway?
If normal military protocol goes into play, Jyn Erso, Chirrut, and Baze and Bodhi were not technically Alliance members.
Technically, it was only Cassian and the troops that went with them.
Cassian and the troops, and Cassian being the highest ranking officer. If anybody took any type of issue with them, it would have been Cassian.
True.
Everybody else. Now, that's not to say that it's like, okay, they would the others would not be allowed to be a part of the Alliance because they can't follow orders, and I'm sure the Alliance would have overlooked the loss of orders on the fact that they did get Death Star plans. Well, but I think if there was any punishment dealt, it would have been landed on Cassian.
Well, here's a question though. You said about only Cassian and the troops being technically an Alliance, but on some of the toys that came out, she's listed as a sergeant. Jyn is listed as a sergeant. She's listed in some of the toys as Sergeant Jyn Erso.
Yeah, it's true.
It happened in the novel.
She was given a rank.
It was in the novel.
Well, I guess you could kind of argue
a field promotion, like a field promotion.
It could have been a field promotion, or you could argue the point that she was technically Rebel Alliance when she was running around with Saul Guerrera. Because he was a militant sect of the Alliance.
He was a part
he never joined the Alliance.
Well, also look at how much rank Luke got as well too. He wasn't an Alliance until he got there, and then he became Lieutenant Commander Skywalker. Within a couple of movies. So you could start out as a foot troop, just because you volunteered.
It's true.
Well, I think blowing up a Death Star is grounds for a field promotion, but that's just me. I mean,
I'm not trying to take away anything from Luke.
Well, look at Lando. Perfect as Lando had a rank in Return of the Jedi.
General.
He had a general rank, and he just joined in. Like,
well, he had joined because they mentioned a battle beforehand, so he had been there for a while.
The battle at Tanav, yeah.
Battle at Tanav, yeah.
But my deal and my problem with that is when Luke and Han blew up the first Death Star, because give Han his due. Luke got a commander ranking, while Han got a captain's ranking. Makes sense because Han's a captain of the Millennium Falcon. I get that. Okay. But then by Jedi, Han's a general. Lando's a general. Luke is still a commander.
That's true.
But is a commander in the more of a naval ranking of a commander, like you have in the naval, you have like commander, captain. You know, it could be an equal rank, but it's just a different branch of service.
Correct.
Well,
maybe he turned down another promotion because he didn't want to get pushed up like that.
And also, he became General Solo on the Battle Endor. He was General Solo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You also have to keep in mind, though, Luke left the Alliance for a while to go train with Yoda.
Yeah.
Because the Alliance members were always free to come and go as they pleased. If you wanted to be a part of it, you were there. If you wanted to leave, you were free to go. And Luke left to go train with Yoda. And then he came back when Leia and Lando rescued him from Cloud City. He came back to the Alliance. And there was only another year there. He wouldn't have had time to get promoted.
Well, the fact of the matter is that we know in the extended universe, Luke did resign his commission to the New Republic because of the fact of being a Jedi Master, right. Which I'm sure follows suit in the new canon as well, even though they haven't really explored that yet.
He did end up leaving the Alliance and solely took on the role of Jedi Knight.
Right. Han, we know in both extended and in canon, resigned his general commission. For different reasons, but at the same time, the same purpose still happened. He resigned his commission to the Alliance. But I don't remember in the original trilogy Luke ever turning around to anybody like Han did in the beginning of Empire Strikes Back and saying, "I gotta leave." It was we're fighting AT-ATs, now we're evacuating the planet, and then Luke decides to split off to Endor. He didn't tell anybody where he was going.
Right.
Yeah.
Or not Endor. For some reason, I thought I said another boo.
Dagobah.
Thank you. Dagobah.
Hell, R2 didn't even know until they were in flight.
Yeah, so when did he have time to resign his commission?
We're going to the Dagobah system.
Yeah, because he was like, no, we're not rejoining with the others. Like, he straight up told R2 at that point, no, we're not going there, we're going here instead.
Yeah.
So when did he have time to even resign his commission?
He really didn't.
Yeah.
He just didn't meet up. Because remember, when he was leaving, though, other pilots said, "Hey, Luke, we'll see you at the rendezvous point." And Luke just kind of waved and got in the X-Wing and gone. You know? Yeah. I mean, that was it.
Maybe at that point they were looking at him as a deserter.
Well, let's think of it. Let's think of it from Luke's standpoint too. He saw an image of Obi Wan, and at that point, he didn't understand Force ghosts and everything else. Mm-hmm. He saw an image of Obi Wan when he was about to be like dead from hypothermia. And stuff of that nature. I'm pretty sure Luke went to the Dagobah system half expecting to find out that it was just a hallucination.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he even said, I'm trying to come in here with a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or what are we even doing here? He was like, something out of a dream, and then when he was cleaning R2 off, you know?
Yeah.
So you would almost think
and he even made the comment, I just got to find this Yoda if he even exists.
So you almost got to expect the reason he just waved and didn't tell anybody in the Alliance where he was going is because, like, how crazy would that sound?
Yep.
Yeah.
A vision in the snow told me to go to this system.
Yeah. While I was freezing to death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's wrap this up for the night, and want everyone just give any last thoughts we got, and say good night for the night. Chris, you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is I cannot wait for The Last Jedi, because I will not lie, I have been, since the first teaser trailer, I have still been bothered by the one simple line, it's time for the Jedi to end. If nothing else has hooked me for episode 8, it's simply that. So, guys, I'm going to speculate all day long, but we're never going to know until December 17th.
Yeah.
True.
Matt, you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to plug or?
Well, like Chris said, we can speculate all day, and that's why we love this show so much, because it gives us a chance to, let our imagination run wild for a little bit. But unfortunately, we have to wait, and then our patience will be rewarded, or could just really irritate us in the long run. But we'll find out soon enough, won't we, in December? So, could you please... Really, man. Just really, man.
There's a time and place for that, bud.
There's dust in here. I'm sorry.
They have medication for that, you know.
Yeah, I'll be taking my medication later for this.
Matt, Christina, you guys got any final thoughts?
Matt and Christina? Okay.
Either one. Whoever wants to first.
Go ahead, Matt. You're the guest.
Yeah, like I said, we can't wait till December.
I bet Brian.
I'll go again. I
don't know. I'm confused.
His answer was so nice, we gave it twice.
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead, Christina.
Okay. Really just, same thing as, both Chris and Matt has said. We're not going to know what's going to happen in Episode 8 until we see it. One thing Lucasfilm was very good at is prohibiting leaks. It's almost like unless they want something to be leaked out, it won't get leaked out. So, I know I've been sniffing to try to get any little bit of like tantalizing information, and I haven't found anything. So, we can speculate, and I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll probably have a couple shows before December where we're just going to try to figure out what Episode 8 is going to be about. So,
yeah.
And what about you, O Keeper of the Canon?
Well, speaking of canon, man, like we get through this month, and it's going to be a smorgasbord of new canon material starting in September. A lot of stuff for us to speculate upon, even more than what we've already got, leading up to the Last Jedi. So I'm really excited for September 1st to get here, just for Force Friday, and then like every week in September, there's like 6 comics coming out a week. So instead of going to get them monthly, I'm just gonna have to go weekly and get them to keep up with this shit. So. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And it's going to be a fun ride. It really is.
Which is when we're going to start launching the Journal of the Jedi.
Yeah. On that note, sorry about that. This has been John Tali and on behalf of the rest of War of the Stars. Remember to check out all the shows here on Realm of the Mist. Like and subscribe down there, and join us next week as we discuss the life of Lord Vader.
Oh, my boy.
Until next time, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Always.
Always.
Peace out, guys.
Later.
All right.